Next tonight, from West Africa, a look at the challenges of getting the most basic resource, water, to people who need it. Special correspondent Steve Sapienza partnered with investigative journalists in two nations, Ghana and Nigeria, as they searched for what's behind the water shortages. His story is part of a collaboration with the Pulitzer Center on Crisis Reporting.
Every day, millions of people across a wide swath of West Africa struggle to get access to clean and safe drinking water. The World Health Organization estimates that more than 1,000 people in the region die each day from illnesses related to unsafe water. The shortage is also hampering development here. In two of the biggest and richest nations of the region, Nigeria and Ghana, pollution, political unrest, and corruption have contributed to water shortages for decades. What's different today is that a new generation of West African journalists is trying to hold government officials accountable for the failures. We followed two of them, Nigeria's Emeder Akpe and Ghana's Samuel Ajiman, as they did their jobs. As a reporter for Nigeria's Business Day newspaper, Emeder's stories target the contradiction of a country with immense oil wealth and great water resources that are not reaching their citizens. We met in Abuja and traveled 6 hours by car to Makurdi, the capital of Benue State in north-central Nigeria.
The River Benue, which is one of the major rivers of Nigeria, runs through this town. The town sits on the banks of this major resource. However, the town brings to life a common proverb which says, you sit by the riverside, yet you wash your hands with spittle.
Emeder chose to focus her reporting here on the Greater Makurdi Waterworks project. It's the latest government attempt to expand delivery of treated water from the Benue River to 600,000 residents, the majority of whom have waited decades to receive water from city pipes. The previous attempt to build a water treatment plant ended in scandal in 2008, with an unfinished treatment facility and city officials unable to account for $6 million. This failure impacts hundreds of thousands of residents outside the reach of the city's old pipe network, who now pay high prices for water delivery from tanker trucks or water pump operators. And those who can't afford water delivery collect untreated water from the Benue River.
I visited here and I was shocked by what I saw. People were actually scooping water from the Benue River, which is massively polluted. And there are several occurrences every year of people dying of cholera, falling terribly sick from dysentery, typhoid fever.
The water minister of Benue State says the remedy is finishing the Greater Makurdi Waterworks.
So in other words, this is an answer to the problem of water in the...
This is the answer to the problems of water in Makurdi. Now, we have built the waterworks. This water has to be sent out to the people.
But to do that, Makurdi needs a larger pipe network and one that is in good condition.
These pipes have corroded, and so they cannot withstand any pressure of water coming out of the new treatment plant. So you have them bursting all over the place.
Former Coca-Cola executive Nat Appier is now an independent water engineer. He says the new water treatment plant will produce enough water, but it will have nowhere to go.
The coverage of the pipes that were laid about 30 years ago is just about 25 to 30% of the metropolis and its environs. Hence the need to lay new pipe networks.
Facing public criticism about the pipes, the government has asked contractors to submit proposals to expand the pipe network.
Is there any time frame?
Well,
because people are waiting, people are expectant.
No, don't worry, don't worry. In the next 6 months or 12 months, maybe even, it's far. We were expecting that by the time we start pumping the water out.
Experts say it may blow and...
Pipe busting, and we want to see that.
Okay.
We want to see that.
Okay, you want to see that before you intervene. It brings to mind an occurrence which in the early 90s, in another locality very close to Makurdi, this great water project was commissioned. However, the day it was test run, the whole town was flooded because the pipes busted, because some people say faulty technical work.
In the neighboring country of Ghana, residents of the capital Accra are frustrated with the government's failure to provide a reliable supply of piped fresh water. This despite Ghana's ample water resources and a steady flow of foreign aid for water projects. About 4 years ago, when Accra was experiencing severe water shortages, the people named these containers Kufor gallons after the sitting president. Now, reporter Samuel Ajiman is asking why these containers are still found in area neighborhoods. Samuel Ajiman is an award-winning reporter who anchors the national evening news for Metro TV.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the weekend news.
His investigation into illegal nighttime water tapping led him to pursue the much bigger problem of gaps in water access citywide. The story starts right in his own backyard, the seaside enclave known as Teshi.
Teshi has a very huge population, close to 200,000. Very diverse as well. It has a very poor community, it has the middle income folks, and then he also has the extreme rich.
Samuel's neighborhood is fairly new and receives water from a city pipeline. The water supply is erratic, however, because the city has not kept up with water demand of all the households and businesses in this growing city of nearly 2 million people.
Anytime we get the water, like on Saturdays and Sundays, I store some of them in these bottles, and then I'm able to boil them anytime I want to use them to cook or to drink. And this is also another bucket where I have water in there. You know, you can see the size. So I can get like just a bucket or two of these, and then I use them to bath in my bathroom.
A short drive from Samuel's home sit the poorer, ramshackle seaside areas of Teshi. When Samuel arrives, residents crowded around a newly installed water tap outside a private home tell him they've waited 15 years for piped water. That meant walking to the nearest fresh water supply with buckets.
If you want to walk, it will take you about how many minutes? About 1 hour to get water before you get water to bath and go to school.
City taps that were once a faint promise are now a source of fresh income in this part of Teshi. Those lucky enough to have a tap on their property charge a small fee to their neighbors for a bucket of water. Still, most of this community remains underserved by the Ghana Water Company, a state-run entity that Samuel discovered has been more successful at raking in foreign investment dollars than supplying water.
We are attracting a lot of investment like nobody's business.
How do we close this gap, considering the sort of investments that we are attracting like nobody's business?
There's a lot of work being done. There are a lot of projects that are ongoing, which can be delivered in the next 2, 3, 4 years.
So what happens to a community like Teshi, which has been in existence for a long, long time, one of very traditional, that haven't had water for 20 years?
It is not true.
The reality on the ground is otherwise. Samuel says the problem is officials are not accountable to the underserved communities.
You go around talking to people that we have spent nights with, people we've spent days with, struggling for water, and these people don't have any sense of what the monies are being used for, the taxpayers' money. They don't understand what project is supposed to come to them. They don't see anybody to hold accountable and ask, why am I not getting water?
According to a 2010 study by the World Health Organization and UNICEF, 8 out of every $10 in the water sector budget here are from foreign donors who are not interested in building water pipelines in Accra. Alban Bagbin is the Minister of Water, Resources, Works and Housing.
Many of our development partners are interested in developing treatment plants and not in supporting the expansion of the distribution network.
Nonetheless, Minister Bagbin predicts the country will reach 100% coverage by 2025.
One would only hope that with confession and admission of the fact that investments are going to be are coming into the water sector, authorities would make sure that in the very shortest possible time we get 100% coverage of water supply.
Faced with the daily struggle to conserve water at home, reporter Samuel Ajaman has vowed to keep up the pressure on authorities until he and everyone living in neighborhoods across Accra have access to safe, clean water 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
On Friday, Nigeria's president officially commissioned the Makurdi Water Works, but according to journalist Amedo Akpe, there's been no change in water quality or supply for local residents because a pipe network remains to be built.